powerful figure makes horrifying Rand Paul announcement. Senator Rand Paul was viciously attacked at his home last week by a next-door neighbor, Rene Boucher. The attack has caused some to launch to the defense of the attacker from making excuses for the attack or outright slamming the senator. The most recent rhetoric is quite alarming. According to CNN, an unnamed congressional colleague of Senator Paul's made a horrific statement. "Can you imagine living next door to that guy? I'm pulling for the neighbor." That's disgraceful, actually. The individual was left unnamed, but CNN described them as someone who has regularly tangled with Paul over policy. The statement is alarming considering that Senator Paul suffered 6 broken ribs and new x-ray shows a pleural effusion as a result of the attack, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. The condition involves fluid around the lungs and, in addition to the broken ribs, impairs breathing and causes immense pain. I mean, isn't that terrible? Boucher's lawyer, Matthew Baker, insisted that the motive was not political. This has absolutely nothing to do with any politics and any liberal versus conservative or Republican versus Democrat, Baker said. It's just not about that. It has to do with the maintenance of each other's property and the disagreement that the 2 adjoining neighbors had over that. No, that's a lie. The supposed motive of a landscaping dispute at this time of year has been refuted by Senator Paul's office as well as neighbors in the community. The narrative is further complicated by the fact that Senator Paul and Boucher hadn't spoken to one another in many years. Senior advisor to Senator Paul, Doug Stafford, stated, "As to reports of long-standing dispute with the attacker, the Pauls have had no conversation with him in many years. The first conversation with the attacker came after Senator Paul's ribs were broken. That was not a fight, it was a blindside, violent attack by a disturbed person." Baker asserted they had not spoken to each other in years, but "I still think I'm certain that you can have a personal dispute without having spoken." It's shocking that anyone, especially one working in a congressional capacity, would support an attack on an elected senator. Furthermore, that they would support an attack over any motive, be it political or landscaping dispute, is even more troubling. This kind of justification over violence on Republicans is the same disturbing circumstances that led to the attack carried out by James Hodgkinson in June. Hodgkinson, 66, was a self-described Bernie Sanders supporter and former Sanders campaign volunteer who expressed a dire hatred of conservatives and President Trump. He took caution to ensure that only Republicans would be on the field when he opened fire during baseball practice for a congressional charity game. The shooting left 6 injured, including Representative Steve Scalise, who was left in critical condition with bone fractures and internal bleeding. Hodgkinson died after a shootout with Capitol Police. Hodgkinson's own social media profiles portray him as a rabid leftist, and members of social groups espousing anti-Republican and anti-Trump values, including one titled "Terminate the Republican Party." He had made numerous calls to vote out all Republican congressmen and even stated it's time to destroy Trump and company. After the attack, leftists used social media to express their glee in the attack and plastered other vile anti-Republican messages online, inferring that Republicans deserve to get shot. Others admitted they felt no pity over the attack and expressed that it was unfortunate that Representative Scalise and other Republicans hadn't perished in the attack. This radical and violent anti-Republican rhetoric has escalated to an alarming level. The left has shown no qualms about using destructive and violent measures in political opposition. Now that a congressional colleague has commended another savage assault on a Republican officials should take precautions to protect themselves in the event of future attacks. This shows you the liberals are screaming that we are Nazis and all of this crap that they're spewing, and yet these are the violent people on the left. I mean, and basically, if Rand Paul wasn't blindsided, I'm sure he can take him out, because usually they're not very tough to begin with. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.